You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
We are tracking dangerous heat across North Alabama, feeling like the triple digits already, and there's no relief in sight. Well, the details coming up.
And all new at midday, a North Alabama man arrested after officials say he and a white nationalist group tried to riot at a pride parade. What we know about the incident.
Plus, the very latest from our nation's capital as the second round of public hearings on the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol get underway. What happened so far this morning? Thank you so much for joining us for WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Marie Waxel.
And I'm Alex Torres-Perez. We want to start with weather team coverage as our first stretch into potentially dangerous temperatures roll into the Tennessee Valley. WAAY 31 meteorologist Carson Meredith goes over what we can expect for this afternoon. Carson?
Yeah, the big concern is going to be those heat index values going over 105 degrees. And unfortunately, there's not much really to speak of anytime soon. Let's show you that heat advisory. This covers a good portion of our WAAY 31 coverage area. Basically, if you're from Fayetteville to Huntsville, points west, so including Athens, Decatur, our Shoals counties as well. That heat advisory starts in about an hour at noon and lasts until 6 o'clock this evening. During that 6-hour window today, we are going to see those heat index values right at or over 105 degrees. And already here at 11 o'clock, this is what it feels like. It already feels like 101 here in Huntsville, feels like 101 in Athens, 103. That feels like temperature out in the Shoals. And even though there's not a heat advisory for Sand Mountain, you can see those feels like temperatures in Scottsboro, Guntersville, and Fort Payne in the mid to upper 90s. Those actual air temperatures are already in the lower 90s, 91 in Decatur, plenty of sunshine on the WAAY 31 SkyCam network. And as you look at the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker early warning radar network, you'll notice there is no rain chances to speak of today. Usually that's a good thing, but on a day like today, we're going to wish that we had some rain to cool us down. So if you're heading out for lunch the next couple of hours, just stay inside if you possibly can. We'll keep those actual air temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, and then we'll be topping out around 97 degrees this afternoon. And you know, this is going to be a long stretch of heat over the next 5 days, and we want to make sure that you stay safe. Let's go out live to WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello, brand new to the WAAY 31 weather team. Grace, let's talk about some of those ways that we can stay safe during this big time heat wave.
Yeah. Hey Carson, how you guys doing? Well, I'm out here at the Huntsville Botanical Garden and, well, it is definitely hot. I'll tell you that right now. But the Huntsville Botanical Garden is hosting their in full swing summer event, and we brought the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker powered by Lynn Layton Chevrolet right here with us to see the event. Now, you do need to be inside during those peak heat hours of the day, but the good news is you don't even need to leave the site. They have a cafe right here on site. You can drink some water, you can use your Storm Tracker bag to keep your sunglasses, your sunblock, and take those breaks inside right here on the site. So we're out here. We were enjoying some of the views this morning from that event that they're having. We're going to go take a break inside in their cafe, and then we'll be out just a little bit later. And that's exactly what I advise you all to do. Come out, see what they have to show, but make sure you're staying safe and bringing your water with you and taking those breaks inside. Well, we'll have more on what's coming up next and another couple of views of the garden after that little safety break. Right now, back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Grace. Well, all new at midday, a North Alabama man was arrested in a major plot to riot at a pride parade in Idaho. Wesley Van Horn from Lexington was among the 31 men from at least 11 states who were arrested. They were all charged with conspiracy to commit a riot. The group was taken into custody after being found packed inside of a U-Haul with riot gear.
We received a telephone call from a concerned citizen who reported that approximately 20 people jumped into a U-Haul and, quote, looked like a little army.
Now, officials say the group were all members of the Patriot Front, a white nationalist group. They are all out on bond and are expected in court today.
Right now, Madison Fire and Rescue is working to figure out exactly what caused a deadly fire at an apartment complex overnight. We know one person died at Windscape Apartments in Madison. We're told no one else was injured. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to one building, and that building is considered a total loss. The Red Cross is helping those who were displaced.
Happening right now, Arab police need your help finding an armed and dangerous suspect. They're looking for this man, Sherman Pierce. Police say he shot at officers after refusing to pull over at a traffic stop Friday. Pierce was last seen running into the woods near Warrenton Road. Once again, he is considered armed and dangerous, so if you see him, do not approach him and call police.
Over in the Shoals now, Tuscumbia police are trying to figure out how a murder suspect escaped the city jail. Lisa Fretwell was captured on County Road 55 in Franklin County by Franklin County deputies just a few hours after she escaped the Tuscumbia City Jail Saturday. Police say they didn't know she wasn't at the jail until check-ins. She's now being held in the Franklin County Jail. Well, right now, officials across the state are looking for an escaped inmate. Here he is on your screen right now. Edward Williams escaped the Fountain Correctional Facility in Atmore yesterday morning. Take a good look. Williams was serving time for a robbery in Jefferson County. If you see Edward Williams or you know where he is, you're asked to call state troopers. Well, time now 11:06 on your Monday morning. New information now from our nation's capital, where the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot is holding its second televised public hearing today, presenting their findings, laying out its case that Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud were directly responsible for that riot.
But they'll be doing it without their star witness, as Trump's former campaign manager, Bill Stepien, will not testify today because of a family emergency. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol, now focusing on former President Donald Trump's repeated false claims of election fraud and his pressure campaign to overturn the vote count in several key swing states.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
Looking to directly tie Trump's lies the election was stolen from him to the deadly Capitol attack on January 6th.
He ignored the will of the voters. He lied to his supporters and the country. And he tried to remain in office after the people had voted him out.
They'll be calling a series of high-profile witnesses, including former Fox News political editor Chris Steyerwalt, who was fired by the conservative cable network after being the first to call the state of Arizona for Joe Biden, which gave him enough electoral college votes to win the election.
Mr. Steyerwalt, after the votes were counted, who won the presidential election of 2020?
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. of the great state of Delaware.
But the start of today's hearing was delayed after Trump's former campaign manager, Bill Stepien, a key witness, canceled his appearance due to a family emergency. The committee playing excerpts of Stepien's previously taped testimony.
My recommendation was to say that votes were still being counted. It's too early to tell. Too early to call the race.
After last week's hearing, Trump responding by doubling down on his debunked claims of election fraud, saying Congress should be investigating that instead. The House Select Committee isn't conducting a criminal investigation, but they are making it clear they are laying out this case not just for the American people, but for Attorney General Merrick Garland, who is the only federal official that could bring criminal charges against Trump or his allies if he believes they've committed crimes. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, the Capitol.
Starting today, for the first time, Morgan County schools will have school resource officers on campus for summer programs. The school district made the change after the recent mass shootings and the man who tried breaking into a school in Gadsden just last week. The school has not received any threats. The school district has not received any threats. Officials say they just wanted to make sure they made these changes as a precaution.
If we can settle the nerves of parents when it comes to safety, they're going to be able to send their kids to school and know that they're going to be safe and learn. But if they can't send their kids to school and know they're going to be safe, then nothing's going to happen when they get there. So safety is a top priority, and it has been.
Now, school officials say they continue to adapt their safety plan to keep kids safe.
And new at Midday, Alabama will distribute summer pandemic EBT benefits to feed around 485,000 kids. Now, the benefits are limited to those in the National School Lunch Program. Eligible families will receive $391 for each child. Benefits are expected to start rolling out later this summer. And students at Albertville City Schools will have to pay for school lunches for the first time in 7 years. The school district says it no longer qualifies for community assistance because fewer families are living in poverty. The exact cost of those meals will be set later this month, and families can apply to get free or reduced meal prices, and that application will be available next month.
Inflation potentially getting worse before it gets better.
The Federal Reserve making moves to try to keep us out of the recession.
And temperatures are already right at 90 here in Huntsville, and we've got plenty of sunshine. That means it'll feel like the triple digits all afternoon. We'll talk about just how long this heat wave lasts coming up.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Breaking news just into our WAAY 31 newsroom. Arab police confirmed just minutes ago they have captured an armed and dangerous suspect. They say Sherman Pierce is now in custody after 3 days on the run. Police say he shot at officers after refusing to pull over for a traffic stop on Friday. Arab police plan to release further details on his capture later today. And a rocky start on Wall Street this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 600 points this morning, and investors are worried as the new work week brings new concerns about inflation and rising interest rates.
ABC's Veronica Miracle goes over those concerns.
This morning, a top economist warns America's inflation crisis is about to get worse before it gets better.
I think you've got to be very modest about what we know about this inflation process, and I fear that it's still going to get worse. We may well get to 9% at this rate.
The Federal Reserve is expected to raise key interest rates by a half point Wednesday in an effort to cool spending enough to curb inflation without tipping the economy into a recession. Some analysts expect interest rates could rise by 3/4 of a point in the months ahead.
Maybe aggressively, 50-50-50, maybe a 75, until we really get inflation under control. And that means, frankly, risking the possibility of, as Chairman Powell said, some pain.
America's 40-year high inflation has been blamed on everything from a tight labor market to COVID, Russia's war in Ukraine, and government spending. Grocery prices are up nearly 12% from a year ago, the largest spike for eggs, meat, and bread since 1979. And gas prices nationwide now average more than $5 a gallon.
I'm not driving as much. I'm not spending money maybe on going out to eat.
The owner of this gas station in Minnesota appears to be just as frustrated as his customers, putting up a sign saying, "We hate our gas prices too." According to financial website Barron's, gas station profits are actually down as they deal with price increases from oil producers, refiners, and pipeline operators. Meanwhile, some drivers in California enjoyed a different kind of sticker shock. A glitch at this station allowed customers to pay just 69 cents a gallon for several hours.
The president says fighting inflation is his top priority, but he warned Friday that inflation could last for a while. Veronica Miracle, ABC News, New York.
Well, as the national gas average surpasses the $5 mark, people here in North Alabama want to see that glitch that gave them 69 cents a gallon. But prices here in Huntsville are slightly lower.
That's right. It's still rising, though. Gas Buddies reporting the average price per gallon in Huntsville's $4.58 a gallon, up a nickel since last week and almost $2 higher than what we were paying last year.
A heat wave is hitting North Alabama hard.
Decatur opening up a cooling center today to help you beat the heat as we near triple-digit temperatures for the first time this year. The Supreme Court could overturn Roe v. Wade as early as today. The High Court updated its calendar and is expected to hand down decisions today and Wednesday. Now, justices have 29 opinions to be delivered before its traditional summer break. A leaked draft opinion hinted the court could overturn Roe v. Wade, giving states the power to make their own abortion laws. Here in Alabama, the law would make it illegal to have an abortion after the 22nd week of pregnancy. There are exceptions where the health of the unborn child's mother is at stake, but there is no exception for rape or incest. Doctors could face felony charges if they're caught performing the procedure. 20 minutes after 11, and it is going to be a hot day all across North Alabama.
And with temperatures expected to near those triple digits, local organizations are ready to keep people cool. Hands Across Decatur Community Cooling Center is now open. They're actually serving lunch right now. The center is open and available for the homeless, as well as anybody who may not have access to air conditioning.
The center is looking for donations to help keep our neighbors hydrated. Bananas, water, and Gatorade are all needed. The center also needs men and women's shorts and sunglasses if you can donate.
So let's go ahead and check in with WAAY 31 meteorologist Carson. Meredith. Carson, it's really starting to feel like summer, even though it's not technically here.
Yeah, we still got about 10 more days until that official start of summer, but no doubt about it, this kind of heat, we're used to seeing that more so in August as opposed to the middle of June. And with those cooling centers starting to open up, obviously those temperatures already feeling like the triple digits, I want to remind you of the different symptoms when we're talking about heat-related illness, be it heat exhaustion or heat stroke. So let's talk about heat exhaustion first. That's when you start to get a little bit dizzy. You're sweating a lot, starting to have some of those muscle cramps. Now, heat exhaustion is preventable and it has some treatments. All you have to do, just get inside, get in a nice cool air-conditioned place, drink plenty of water, maybe take a cool shower as well. But once you start talking about heat stroke, that's where we start to have much greater health concerns. That's when you stop sweating completely, your skin gets very red, very hot, very dry, and you may lose consciousness if you start to suffer heat stroke. If you have any of those symptoms or anybody you're working with starts to experience those heat stroke symptoms, make sure you call 911 right away. And all in all, if you can, just stay inside during the peak heat this afternoon and for the next several afternoons too. Look at the WAAY 31 Skycam network. We've got plenty of sunshine. There is no relief in the heat to speak of. Clouds, rain, none of it today. Temperatures in the lower 90s across the board, but it already feels like the triple digits. We're quiet across the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker early warning radar network. Did have a few showers in western Tennessee a few hours ago. That has faded away, and I do think we will stay dry today. We'll keep that mix of sun and clouds around. Maybe some more clouds developing this afternoon, but not a whole lot. Our forecast high temperatures, the actual temperature, 97 degrees today. It's probably the warmest day we've had in a couple of years in North Alabama. And it goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway, that UV index is in the extreme category. So on top of the heat exhaustion, the heat stroke concerns, you can get a sunburn in about 10 minutes later on today. So for any outdoor activities, today we are going red light because we do not want you to be outside for a long stretch of time, basically from right about now until 6 o'clock this evening. Now going through the next few days, so tomorrow through Thursday, yes, it will still be very hot, but perhaps not quite as dangerously hot as what we're going to be dealing with today. Still feeling like the triple digits, but maybe not getting to that heat advisory criteria where it feels like 105. Let's go through future radar. Again, there's not much relief to speak of today. We may have a few more clouds this afternoon, but that's all. Mostly clear skies overnight tonight. When you wake up Tuesday morning, those temperatures will be in the mid-70s, a very muggy start to the day. And then starting on Tuesday, we'll have a small chance for a few of those showers of storms to develop during the peak heat of the day. That coverage, though, is going to be very, very isolated. You know, it's just a 10 to 20% chance across the board all the way through the work week, so not much relief to speak of. And as you look at that 7-day forecast, yeah, those temperatures are going to stay in the mid-90s. Maybe a slight cool down this weekend, but even so, both Saturday and Sunday, we are back in the low 90s.
Thank you, Carson. Well, parents of young children may soon be able to have their kids vaccinated against COVID as early as next week.
The FDA meeting this week to make their final decision after saying they're safe.
A COVID vaccine for kids under 5 could soon become available. Today, the FDA said Pfizer's 3-dose vaccine is safe. That's based on a study that involved more than 4,500 kids under the age of 5. FDA advisors are set to meet Wednesday to see if Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines should be given an emergency use authorization. Right now, an overwhelming majority of the state is considered to be a high risk for community transmission, and this includes all of North Alabama. This is according to the state health department. The state test positivity rate is just under 18%, with almost 5,000 new COVID cases reported here in Alabama in the last week. Time now 11:27 as you take a live look at Lake Gunnersville with our Thompson Roofing and Construction Sky Camera Network. A heat advisory in effect today until 6 p.m.
It's a good day to hit the water as those highs remain in the 90s. We'll take a look at what you can expect later in this afternoon.
You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
Here at 11:30, temperatures already in the low 90s, but it feels like the triple digits, and this heat's not going anywhere. We'll have the latest on that coming up.
Plus, the first steps towards gun reform, the bipartisan deal lawmakers made over the weekend. Thank you so much for staying here with us on WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Alex Torres-Perez.
And I'm Marie Waxel. We want to start with team coverage from our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather team as our first stretch of potentially dangerous temperatures roll into the Tennessee Valley. Let's start with WAAY 31 meteorologist Carson Meredith now. Carson, these temps are typically what we can expect much later into the summer month.
Yeah, this is usually what we are talking about in August as opposed to the 13th day of June. And unfortunately, these extremely hot, potentially dangerous temperatures, they're going to be with us for quite some time. Now, these are the actual air temperatures right now, and it's already in the low 90s, and it's not even noon yet. Here in Huntsville, it's 90 on the dot, 91 in Decatur right now, 92 in Muscle Shoals, still holding on to the upper 80s in Scottsboro where it's 88, but trust me, that will be a much different story here at the next temperature update at the top of the hour. Here's your weather on the go, hour by hour with our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app today. We may have some more clouds develop this afternoon, but pretty much all of us stay dry. Tiny chance for an isolated shower. Your forecast high today, actual air temperature 97, but it'll feel more like the triple digits, of course. Going through the evening, still very warm, 90 degrees still by 7 o'clock this evening, and we'll have another muggy night yet again with mostly clear skies. Temperatures still hovering around 80 degrees by midnight. And like we mentioned, this heat is just not going anywhere. Over the next 3 days, we will keep those actual air temperatures in the mid-90s. That heat index might be a touch cooler tomorrow and Wednesday, but even so, likely in the triple digits for many of us. And we do have that return with the chance for maybe 1 or 2 of those thunderstorms during the peak heat of the day each afternoon. Obviously, you want to stay cool, stay inside if you can today, but let's go outside to the Huntsville Botanical Gardens. That's where we find the newest member of the WAAY 31 weather team, meteorologist Grace Anello. Grace, it is a scorcher out there. Tell us what you're seeing right now.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't be more right, Carson. It is so hot out here, but we're taking advantage of the Huntsville Botanical Gardens' new event in full swing. There's 40 swings all over the park that you can take rest in the shade, and I want to let you know I'm not here alone. These are some friends that I've made. Say hey. They're all taking a break in this shade too, so look at those smiles. We're so happy. They're staying hydrated. I've got my water, they've got their water, so we're taking this opportunity right here in the garden to have some shade, have a break, and make sure that we're staying safe here. There's even a cafe right here in the garden. You don't even have to leave sight for those peak heat hours of the day. You can go inside, catch a drink, catch a snack, get in the air conditioning a little bit, and then come right back out and enjoy the garden. And that's what you guys have been doing today, right? Yeah. Yeah, so we're having a good day out here. We're really enjoying it. There's all different types of swings that you can set out. I think this one's my favorite. I do love the color blue, but we're gonna go try some other ones. And then after the show, we're gonna go take a break in the cafe. So we're staying safe out here, and I hope you guys are too. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, Grace. Well, all new at midday, a man will now spend the rest of his life in prison after pleading guilty to a 2020 Christmas Eve murder in Albertville. Officials say Tevin Hampton shot and killed Amanda Hood after an argument. The two were in a 2-year relationship. Hampton was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
We're working to learn more information this morning on a Huntsville shooting that sent one man to the hospital. It happened off Blue Springs Road last night. The victim, we're told, is expected to be okay. No further details have been released at this time. The important first steps. Over the weekend, a bipartisan group of senators reached an agreement on potential gun legislation.
While it's significantly weaker than what President Biden has called for, if passed, these measures would be the most significant action Congress has taken on gun safety laws since the 1990s. ABC's Rena Roy goes over the deal.
For weeks, calls for gun control growing louder across the country after the massacres in Buffalo and Uvalde. And now a bipartisan group of senators has reached an agreement on what could be some of the most significant gun reform in more than a generation.
There's still a lot of work to do. There's still a long way to go, but I'm really encouraged by today's announcement.
The plan, drafted by 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans, would strengthen background checks allowing juvenile records to be screened for gun buyers younger than 21, expand gun restrictions for convicted domestic violence abusers, allocate funding for states enacting red flag laws to temporarily remove guns from those considered dangerous, and bolster school security and mental health programs.
I will put this bill on the floor ASAP, as soon as possible, so that Congress can quickly act to do something meaningful against gun violence.
President Biden had called for stricter laws, including banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines altogether, and if not, raising the age to buy them from 18 to 21. The president saying, obviously it does not do everything that I think is needed, but it reflects important steps in the right direction. After striking a deal, Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn speaking out, saying the tragedies in Uvalde and elsewhere cried out for action. David Hogg, who survived the Parkland mass shooting, says this step gives him hope.
It makes me want to cry like tears of happiness. This is just a first step. It's not the last.
Now, this is a deal on principles. The legislative text still needs to be written, which means there's still a ways to go before these provisions potentially become law. And sources tell ABC the fine print will be critical to keep enough Republicans on board. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
We now have a traffic alert you'll want to be aware of. Athens Utilities shut down the intersection of Plum and Wheeler Streets. The section will be shut down until 1 this afternoon. One Danville native getting the chance to chase her dreams.
How she's able to play for the college team of her dreams.
And if you're playing baseball or softball today, you might want to wait till later this evening. It's already up to 92 in the Shoals, and it's only getting hotter from there. We'll walk you through the rest of your Monday forecast in a few minutes.
Well, happening today, it's a win or go home situation for the Auburn baseball team.
A trip to the College World Series is on the line in Oregon. It comes after the Tigers lost 4-3 to Oregon State last night. Luckily, they have another opportunity to punch their ticket to Omaha. First pitch set for 6:30 tonight.
And staying on the diamond, it was a big weekend for one Danville native. Emma Broadfoot grew up in North Alabama. She played for North Alabama, and now she's living out her dreams.
WAAY 31's Max Cohan goes over how she's now able to play with the team she's always wanted to be a part of.
I'd always had in the back of my head that Alabama was the ultimate goal.
Hard work pays off. Just ask Emma Broadfoot. The Danville native spent the last 2 years on the softball field with the North Alabama Lions, breaking 5 team records during the 2022 season. As a result of her success, Broadfoot can now say her dreams have become reality as she has committed to the University of Alabama. Growing up in a family of Crimson Tide fans, she always wanted to play for Alabama.
This was the place to go to. I mean, we go to all the football games. I'd grown up watching these girls play softball. I was actually there when they won the national championship in 2012. So I just knew it's always been a dream of mine, and I'm just thankful that now this opportunity is available. You know, I tried to go to Alabama my entire career, but, you know, I wasn't ready at the time when I was in high school. And, you know, 2 years at UNA, I learned as a player. I learned the game. I became a better player, and now I can use my skills at this level.
All of this became possible when she emailed head coach Patrick Murphy after putting her name in the transfer portal. After some discussion and a visit, she made her commitment official this weekend.
I'm still on cloud 9 right now, but I'm pretty sure when that first team meeting in August rolls around, that's when it'll start setting in for me.
Of course, finally being part of the Tide is a dream come true, but Broadfoot says she's also looking forward to finally having the chance to get student tickets for football and basketball games.
Just perks. Well, it is almost time for our weekly WAAY 31 Law Call segment.
Give us a call, 256-536-0077, to get your legal questions answered. We will take your phone calls after this.
Weather coverage you can count on. with meteorologist Carson, Meredith, and the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We'll get to law call here in a couple of minutes. Let's talk more about the heat, unfortunately. We have a heat advisory in effect for nearly everyone in our coverage area except Sand Mountain. So basically, if you're from Fayetteville to Huntsville, points west, that heat advisory technically starts in about 15 minutes. Here at the top of the hour, goes through 6 o'clock this evening, and the area in orange is where we will see the hottest feels-like temperatures today. In fact, we're already seeing those feels-like temperatures in the lower triple digits in most spots. The actual air temperatures right now in the lower 90s. 90 on the dot in Huntsville. Same story goes for Scottsboro and Fort Payne. 88 in Guntersville, 91 in Decatur, and it's 92 right now in Muscle Shoals. Keep in mind, those are actual air temperatures, but it already feels like the triple digits in many spots, and it is going to stay that way for the next 6 or 7 hours. We'll see those feels like temperatures peak around 106 or 107 today. Remember, a heat advisory is for heat index values over 105. So we're definitely hitting that criteria today. And even in northeast Alabama, where there's no heat advisory, you'll still likely see those heat index values around 101, 102 before the day is out. This is the big reason why. If you look closely, we have a big ridge of high pressure pretty much on top of North Alabama right now. Combine that high pressure with that very muggy air mass in place. That's the reason why we have these heat index values well into the triple digits. And as you look at our humidity tracker, that air you can wear is not going anywhere. We may get some relief later on this week, but not a whole lot. I do expect to see those triple digit heat indices all week long. But we are dry on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. Usually that's a good thing, but today I think we'll all be wishing we had some relief in the heat. Walking the dog, strongly discouraged over the next few hours. I would hold off until later on this evening once you get home from the office. Forecast high temperatures around 97 today. And the reason why you want to hold off on that dog walk is because of the concrete and asphalt temperatures. Now that we're heading for the mid to upper 90s, that concrete temperature around 140, asphalt temperature around 155, that will easily burn the paws on our dogs. So just keep that in mind. I would hold off on that walk until after dinner time, maybe closer to sunset tonight. Future radar shows a quiet picture through the rest of your Monday afternoon and evening. Quiet start to your Tuesday morning as well, but a very muggy morning yet again, likely in the mid 70s to kick off the day tomorrow. And as we go through the day on Tuesday, we might start to have 1 or 2 showers or storms bubble up during that peak heat in the afternoon. This data source suggesting most of us are stay dry, but I am going to keep that small chance for a couple of those showers and storms starting on Tuesday and going through the rest of the work week. Even so, there's just not much relief in this heat. 7-day forecast shows those highs in the mid 90s through Friday. We may get a little bit of a cool down this weekend in the lower 90s, but still very hot over the next 7 days.
Well, time now to answer your legal questions. So call us now at 256-536-0077.
Attorney Michael Timberlake with our friends at Senior Timberlake and League joining us in studio this morning. Good morning, Michael. Always good to see you.
It's great to be here.
So let's talk while we're waiting for some phone calls this morning. The all-important thing, you have a claim, the insurance adjuster calls you or reaches out. How should you start those conversations with insurance adjusters?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that happens and you think it would be, not a big deal, just, provide some basic information. But it can be really important. So what we tell people is, look, at minimum, call a lawyer before you start talking with an insurance company about your claim. You don't want to talk your way out of the ability to recover. In a liability situation, you can, if you say the wrong thing, the insurance company may assume that you're at fault in some way, and in Alabama, that can preclude you from having any recovery. Likewise, if it's a first-party claim, if you're making a claim against a property or something, a collision on your car that was what anybody else's fault, you want to make sure that you have all that information and you understand what their obligations are before you start working with them, dealing with them, and agreeing to accept any certain amount of money. So it's one of those things you want to make sure you know what you're doing. You have an obligation typically to provide your own insurance company information about your claim, but you don't have an obligation to talk to a liability insurance adjuster or provide any kind of recorded statement. So you shouldn't do that. And so, talk to a lawyer, figure out what you need to do.
Are there any key words out there or phrases that you should or shouldn't say that they're looking for?
I mean, they'll ask you, open-ended questions like, could you have avoided this? Or did you, were you going, how fast were you going? Which are kind of innocuous, but if you say the wrong answer to those, you can talk yourself out of a recovery.
All right, well, we do have a caller. Jack, go ahead and ask your question.
Is a reference to liability for fireworks during the 4th of July. In a subdivision in Priceville, is the homeowner or the person who is shooting the fireworks or the city of Priceville responsible for any damage to the house, property, or cars?
Right. I mean, obviously, if it's in the city limits, there's probably an ordinance that says you're not supposed to shoot off fireworks. So the city's not necessarily going to be liable for somebody else's criminal or their wrongful activity. In that situation, you'd have to look towards the homeowner if they were aware that this was going on their property and they allowed this kind of criminal activity to occur and it caused property damage. They may be responsible for the damage, and obviously the individual that lit the fireworks that would cause damage would be responsible as well. Can be hard to trace those people, and especially if it's in a neighborhood where there are a lot of people firing fireworks, it's difficult to try to figure out exactly where it came from. But obviously, if somebody's doing that, you can alert the law, and they can come hopefully remedy the situation before it causes any damage. But if you think it's going to go on, I would take actions to protect your cars or anything you think is vulnerable.
We now have Penny on the line. Penny, go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, hi. I was calling to see, I lost my parents in December and in February, and they didn't have a will. Does it have to go in probate, or can we just out and out sell it?
Well, it depends on what kind of property you're talking about. Is it vehicle, home?
It's a home.
It's a home. Well, it would depend upon the way that the deed was written. If it is typically with husband and wife, they would have a survivorship deed that would leave it to the husband if the wife dies first, or the wife if the husband dies first. But in this situation, both of them are passed away. More than likely, they did not update their deed once one of them passed away. So more than likely, you're going to have to probate that to get the house sold and divided up between the heirs. Well, but you don't. But even if there's not a will, you don't have to have a will to probate. You can have what we call an intestate estate.
Well, if you didn't get your question answered or you want more information, you can always call our friends over at Senior Timberlake and League. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. This may add a little pep to your step tomorrow morning. You have a chance to score free coffee for a year.
And that's right. It's new Dunkin' Donuts is giving its first 100 customers in the store a free cup of Joe for a full year. The store is opening tomorrow morning at 5 on Highway 431 in Hampton Cove, so make sure you get up extra early to try to win that prize. But even if you aren't part of that first 100, the new store is offering free medium hot or iced coffee until 10 tomorrow morning, so it's pretty much a win-win scenario.
I wonder if we'll have people waiting out there tomorrow morning. Look at those feels like temperatures. This just came down a couple of minutes ago. It now feels like 103 in Huntsville. Feels like 104 in the Shoals, 102 in Scottsboro. Just take it easy this afternoon. That heat advisory continues for everybody except Sand Mountain until 6 o'clock this evening, and we'll keep this heat with us all week long.
Be careful out there. Remember, for 24/7 coverage you can count on, go to WAAYTV.com.
We'll see you back here at 4. Stay cool out there.